What's up, YouTube? It's Steve. Very rare video where you actually see my gorgeous face. Anywho, I wanted to make a quick video. I'm at work right now waiting for my lunch slash dinner, however you want to call it, ready to cook, and I just had to make a quick video. Because those of you who may or may not know, I am a huge Resident Evil fan. And of course, today we have finally seen Zack Cregger's, teaser for his version of Resident Evil. And already I've seen all the stuff on Facebook. I've seen it on IGN and, Screen Rants, all that stuff, right? And so, of course, people asking me, like, Steve, what do you think about it? And I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest, I am not thrilled with it at all. I watched it a couple times, make sure I didn't miss anything, and I do think it's going to be a good movie. I think it has, well, from the teaser, it has the makings to be a good supernatural style horror movie, but I saw nothing that screams, this is a Resident Evil movie. This is the movie that OG fans have waited over 2 fucking decades for, okay? I don't get it how Hollywood can't come up with a good adaptation, right? When you have AI videos, you have fan people who can make better short videos that capture the feel of Resident Evil. Now, I've seen people say, well, you should go play the games if you want to go see people in a mansion. That's not the point. Look at Mortal Kombat 2, right? It may not be a one-to-one direct copy of a specific game, but I can tell from the previews that I have seen that I can go into that movie and I am going to get what Mortal Kombat promises. Characters, fatalities, and fighting scenes, right? Street Fighter is the same way. It's bringing in characters. It's going to be campy. It's going to have out-of-this-world fighting scenes, right? Because that's what the games are. Zack Cregger might say, well, my movie's scary. Well, yeah, so is other fucking zombie films. What's your point here, okay? You could have had a whole lot of teases to make this a Resident Evil fan. Now, you must say, so, oh, Steve, what's a Resident Evil movie, right? It's exactly what we have grown to love, okay? Resident Evil is prime Resident Evil in the Raccoon City era. So if you want to throw in anything from Zero and to a degree, Code Veronica, right? Okay? The Resident Evil 1 premise, at its basic, is haunted mansion, police force, betrayal, conspiracy, mixed in with some sci-fi and stuff like that. It's a very isolated game, right? Go to Amazon and go look up the book The Umbrella Conspiracy, written by S.D. Perry. It's a fairly old book, but it's written beautifully. Okay, and every single time I go back and I read it, I'm like, man, this would make a great series. Now we know how Netflix fucked up that series, right? But when you say make a good Resident Evil movie, right? People say, well, I don't want a one-to-one. You don't need to do a one-to-one direct adaptation. Just incorporate the key elements. Get your characters and make them look like they're actually like people, not just people playing, cheap cosplay, right? You have zombies, right? And you don't need the full-on Dawn of the Dead pieces of, you can do basic zombies, right? Okay? Get a mansion, okay? You can even make a movie that spends the first 20 minutes building up the universe of Resident Evil. Show us the RPD. Show us the STARS office. Fans of the game are going to know, hey, wait a minute, I know this location. I know what happens here in a couple of months. It's a little nod to fans of the game, okay? You can build the world up, okay? Even for people who don't see this, like who don't understand Resident Evil, you build the world up, okay? When you get to the mansion, right, what happens in the mansion? People die. You find bodies, and at the very end, the mansion explodes, right? So how you go from your prologue to, okay, we're in the mansion explodes. You have that whole space to fill up things. You can make changes in that space so that it's different from the game to keep gamers involved and interested in it, but still staying true to overall things. A perfect example that I thought of would be, hey, let's say Chris or Joe finds Richard. He's injured, right? Okay. But all of a sudden, he teams up. Let's say he's walking the hallways with Joe. Now as the fan of the games, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is different. But you know that he is going to die, or he needs to die in some way, right? But you also know that Richard's death in the game is not a huge point to the matter of how he dies. Whether he dies by the shark or he dies by the snake, he still dies, and it doesn't affect the overall narrative of the story. You can make tweaks like that. You can go in depth with Wesker's manipulation of Barry. You can give Rebecca a little bit of love. Hell, in the beginning of the movie, you can even give the members of the Bravo team a couple things to say before they run off, go get killed, right? There's a lot of things that you can do as an adaptation to make Resident Evil work. Utilize camera angles. You could do so much, and it boggles my mind that people can't do it. You can condense rooms. I mean, hell, really look at the Resident Evil games and make a list of every room. There are dozens of rooms that the only reason why you go there is to find a file, or you go there to get an ammo, right? You don't need that in a movie. You can cut that room out. No, nobody needs to watch someone collect 4 death masks or get 4 crests, right? Get one and tweak it into something like that, right? You don't need to do everything one-to-one, all right? Welcome to Raccoon City. Try to do too much. They try to take 2 games and make it into one. But it's still attempted to bring in elements from the game. In fact, the one sequence in that movie that I felt did work was the mansion sequence. And it proved that you can do a mansion movie. So why would this dude, who supposedly has played the games, okay, and supposedly has made 2 movies. I haven't seen Barbarian, I haven't seen Weapons, so I'm kind of just going by hearsay. But he said he plays the games, but he wants to evoke the feeling of playing it. Well, it's different because you're actually playing it. Looking at the trailer, I mean, I saw a lot of signs, supernatural signs. I saw harkens to The Descent, and the snow. What? This is supposed to take place in Raccoon City in September, right? I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith in this, and I'm hoping that the next trailer does, and I'm hoping that, I don't know, I'll go see it, of course, because I love Resident Evil, and I will support it, but I gotta tell you, as a diehard fan, as an OG fan from 96, I mean, we waited over 2 decades for a decent film. It looks like we're still gonna be waiting. I don't know. And in fact, I just read an article on IGN saying that he has like 3 zombie scenes in this movie. What? I said one of the critiques I have about Resident Evil is just I wish, if it was going to die off, I wish it would have died off, given us the final fight with Umbrella, and we would have rode off into the sunset. And I hate the fact that it's had to change its identity to stay relevant. Because you can play Zero with the Code Veronica and know that you're playing a Resident Evil game. But 4, 5, and 6 have nothing in common with the ones before that. 7 and 8 have nothing to do with anything before those. And they are very, 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 very loosely tied to the narrative. And then, of course, then you have 8, who did the bullshit Mother Miranda retcon, And even to a degree, Requiem, which, don't get me wrong, fun games, right? But a lot of fan service that was just kind of put in for the fan service. And now we have Leon Kennedy, a.k.a. Resident Evil's John Wick. I don't know. Guys. I wish Resident Evil hit the reboot again. And, because obviously the Resident Evil 2 remake shows that it can be done. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. What you think. Am I overreacting? Do I have a valid point? Let me know. But, yeah, I wanted to get it off my chest. Hope you're all having a good day. And we'll see you in the next statue review coming up. Probably in a couple weeks. Okay? Peace, guys.